Well, thank you for being here. I do want to share one story. Just after the vote we just took, my phone buzzed, and it was one of my closest friends in the whole world who was battling addiction. And the text was simply, "Thank you." He had just lost a friend of his earlier this week to addiction. And he said, "You know what? I've been to a dozen funerals this year. This is not uncommon. Addiction is a disease. And frankly, we see that happening across the country in every single district. The epidemic that we have with prescription drugs and heroin abuse is rampant. Earlier this week, we had the La Liberté family here in Washington, D.C. Alex La Liberté was a young man with his whole life ahead of him, a good student, an athlete, had good grades and lots of friends, but yet was addicted to prescription drugs. His family didn't know what was going on. Frankly, the doctors didn't either. He was going through withdrawals. He'd go and check himself into the hospital and then get better and then would repeat the cycle. And unfortunately, when he was 20 years old, just before his final exams, he succumbed and actually passed away from an overdose. No parent should ever have to go through the pain of losing a child. What we've done this week here in the House of Representatives is take a huge step forward, bringing people together, Republicans and Democrats alike, because again, this is not a partisan issue. You've heard it said time and again, this is an American issue. This is something that we all have to roll up our sleeves and battle together. We have different organizations around the country. Back in the 10th District in Illinois, I'll tell you, we have organizations like Live for Lali, which was started by Alex La Liberté's family to try to ensure that this fate does not happen to other parents. Organizations like the Filler Foundation, which was started after their son passed away from an addiction, after coming out of rehab, and they didn't realize that he had slipped back into the prescription drug and heroin epidemic. This is something that impacts all of us. And so this is about, as you heard from the chairman earlier, this is about investigating the issue, trying to make sure that we're taking the pushers off the street, but it's also about making sure we're getting those into treatment, giving those that are addicted, that are suffering from this disease, a second chance at recovery. And one of the biggest things that you all can help us with, this is about education and making sure people know that this is in their neighborhoods, this is in their schools. This is one of those issues that, frankly, is a public health crisis that we need to come together and solve. So I'm very proud of the work that we've been able to do, and I also want to call on the President to do everything that he can to sign this bill as soon as possible, and we look forward to making sure that we can take that big step together. We know that together, we truly can save lives. Thank you all so much.